SZA was born on November 8th, 1989, making her a Scorpio. SZA really does embody the appeal of Scorpio women, as she has sex appeal and is a big part of her image. She also has mystique, which is very common with Scorpio women. As an audience, we don't really know much about SZA personally. She doesn't really do many interviews, and the internet has made a joke about the fact that she does switch up some of the things about her life interview to interview. So there is this misconception about SZA that nothing we know about her is the truth. This is real Scorpio energy, mysterious allure, dark sexuality, and she does have many Scorpio placements. Her moon sign is in Pisces. A Pisces moon is someone who feels emotionally connected and sustained by creativity and expression of empathy. The imagination is expansive with this placement. There is a need to express one's creativity and to experience creative people in their main circle so they don't feel alone or overly sensitive. There's a fine balance with Pisces moons, as they have big imaginations and a special connection to the ethereal world.
What you were writing about in those first songs and hooks?
I feel like I write about the same.
Yeah.
All, in terms of my feelings, I'm just moody as hell, so it's all a reflection of my moody moods. So I don't know, when I'm not, after therapy, I probably won't be able to make music anymore or something like that.
Daydreaming.
It's so good.
I know.
I think it's pretty expansive. It makes the brain expand or something.
Do you think being delusional is a good or a bad thing?
It's such a good thing.
You think? Okay.
Yeah, because anyone who actually thinks that they're grounded in reality, when it's where are we actually? What's actually happening? You don't.
This makes them more creative and empathic, but also more susceptible to insecurity and self-hate. SZA's first album had a theme of insecurity. She sang about feeling insecure about not having a thicker body and broken clocks, and about not having enough self-esteem to demand more from a romantic partner in the weekend. She also has altered her body with plastic surgery. I'm not saying that that's a direct correlation to her being a Pisces moon, but there is sensitivity that comes with that, and to have Pisces in such an emotional placement such as the moon, it does make one more vulnerable to criticism. Pisces moons tend to have really big hearts and are very forgiving and understanding of people and animals. So when they don't receive what they put out there, it's a disappointment that can often turn inwards onto themselves.
Do you have any love life, or are you just busy?
My life is full of love.
That's good. Have you had your heart broken?
Man, for sure. But my heart is so damn soft and available. It's a mess. So, well, it used to be. And so I think at that time, when I was younger, I was so naive and very tender and just hella green, but unusually green, to where it was to my detriment. I really got my feelings hurt a lot, but I learned a lot. And
her Mercury is in Scorpio. A Mercury Scorpio would make her either a very secretive or a very talkative person who goes off on a lot of tangents, is incoherent, or makes up a lot of stories when they speak. SZA has said she talks bullshit a lot on one of her songs on her new album. And in the few interviews she does have, she is someone who talks with a watery essence. Scorpio is a water sign, and if you have Mercury in a water placement, you may speak poetically. And with Scorpio specifically, you find meaning in seemingly mundane things. So waxing poetic is a saying that comes to mind here.
Tips or anything like that, I'm really trying to cultivate a spirit of knowingness within myself in a more sturdy way. And I think there's a version of me when I was younger that has that blind abashedness when it's I'm young, I don't know, I don't know anything, I don't care about anything, I can't even see myself, and then they knew they were naked kind of vibe. Mm-hmm. And then when I got older, I knew I was naked, and I started to be whoa, am I being perceived? That's crazy, am I doing it wrong? So now I'm in this stage of removing limitations, removing the desire to even know that I'm being perceived. And all of us, it's not natural for us to be perceived as much as we are, on the internet and breaking the fourth wall of our lives. That's a freak show.
This will likely be a great influence on her songwriting abilities. Her Venus sign is in Capricorn, making her someone who craves and gives a stable connection to a partner. Venus is how we love and who we are attracted to. And to have it in the sign of stable Capricorn means SZA nurtures in that way. by offering stability and unwavering loyalty to who she loves. She is ambitious and likely has high standards for whoever she dates and whoever she loves. She likely is attracted to very professional, ambitious men, perhaps clean-cut men who have an air of authority about them, because that image reflects an energy of stability, and this is something that she really craves from a partner and what she likes to give. Capricorn Venuses want to build. They have to always feel that they are growing with someone to create something of a solid foundation. SZA's Mars sign is in Scorpio as well. Again, she's a very Scorpionic woman. And having a Scorpio Mars makes one very secretive, and it means you go after your goals with a level of planning that is under the radar and controlled. There is a need to keep plans under wraps with this placement. The element of surprise is big here. A Scorpio Mars loves to surprise people. I know a Scorpio Mars that hid her pregnancy the entire 9 months until the day she gave birth. So it's a very secretive placement, and it would make people very interested in what you're doing. So Scorpio Mars people naturally inspire intrigue because their drive is not visible. They're also very intense in how they go after their desires. There's a strong will and determination, and being in a water sign, there's an innate ability to flow through and around any obstacle that obstructs their success. This placement is often destined for success, and there is often an interest in the occult and mystical sciences and spirituality with this placement as well. Remember, Mars is your drive and what you are driven towards, and a Scorpio Mars would have an interest in anything that's not just common surface level trends. Your Jupiter placement indicates where, if you choose to embody the energy it's in, you will find the least path of resistance to your life's mission. SZA's Jupiter sign is in Cancer. It's also regressed, meaning that she has a lot to be worked through within this sign. When SZA acts as a Cancer that is open-hearted and compassionate, she is more fortunate. SZA is known for being very vulnerable and open in her music. She sings about whatever she's going through at the time, and fans feel very connected to her lyrics. She is wealthy and admired in her field as a result of this. She is living out her Cancer Jupiter and therefore has experienced a lot of success. A Cancer Jupiter also has more success and happiness if they do what they genuinely love to do, because Cancer is a very homey sign, so anyone with strong Cancer placements likely is most comfortable at home or in a home-like environment. They tend to make everything around them beautiful and loving because they need to feel connected to every space they spend their time.
Like in a space that I was comfortable in, it was just more like, this is a studio. Welcome to the studio. I tried to just kind of like work through it, but I just wasn't comfortable. I prefer like if I could build a little studio like in a house that I'm staying in. I just work better in like a house. It was like, okay, breakfast. All right, I'm about to try something real quick. Comfort and confidence is so key. Like it really is. Like some artists can be comfortable anywhere because they're very like cerebral. I'm a visual person. I'm very reactive to my environment. It's wood and stone and in the middle of the woods also, and it's just perfect. It was like,
so it doesn't matter if it's work or at home. It has to feel very, very, very special. And this Jupiter placement would mean SZA has a lot of success because she genuinely loves to perform. This ties into her Chiron placement. Chiron is the energy of our pain in this life. And also, when used properly, it is the very energy that brings us healing. And SZA has it in Cancer as well. So a Cancer Chiron native will find healing and comfort in Cancerian activities, such as spending time with loved ones, engaging in activities that encourage healing, like the arts in SZA's case. Which Cancer is a very creative sign as well, simply just being a water sign, because there's a tendency to cross spiritual bounds and bring down something creative. SZA has an Aquarius ascendant, and this just makes her stand out from the crowd. There's a number of R&B singers and eclectic singers in the recording industry, but SZA is the most successful and sells the most records because she isn't like any other artist. She dresses in a way that's not trendy, she changes her look often, and she isn't known for having many emotional connections in her industry, as Aquarius placements are not very social. So she also has a unique way of singing that stands out. And she sometimes gets called out for not enunciating enough as she sings, but in response to that, SZA references other artists that make songs their own by mutating their vocal inflection. So as a result, Her sound is more unique, and it's not like traditional R&B sound, but a fusion of a few different genres. She also has a Scorpio midheaven. This makes sense considering all of her heavy Scorpio placements in other areas. She is genuinely a Scorpion woman. Her reputation is exactly the essence of Scorpio. She is sensual and sexy and mysterious and spiritual and intense. Houses in the birth chart represent areas of life. Only 5 out of her 12 houses have planets in them, so I'll go over those 5 and lightly discuss the others. For starters, her first house contains the moon and north node. Having the moon in your first house means you are someone who wears your heart on your sleeve, as your first house is the house of identity. It's how the world sees you and how you see the world. So having the emotional natured moon here indicates that she sees the world with an acute sensitivity that's higher than other people. She's likely very attuned to people's emotions, and this would also explain her success, because if you are attuned to people's emotions, then you tend to know what they like and their wants and their needs. So moon also means that she has no issue putting her emotions on display, putting her emotions in that first house of, your reputation and like who you are in this world. She's a performer and a songstress. And even before she was a performer, she was a songwriter for other artists for many years. So the need for creative expression, particularly with the moon being in the sign of Pisces, is very strong. The need to express creatively is of the utmost importance, but these emotions are put on display by this person being in the first house. So she was meant to be known for expressing how she feels. And if she wasn't famous, and perhaps before she was famous, she may have been known for being a little bit dramatic. Perhaps not, though, because she obviously had an outlet in writing, so it always helps someone who experiences big emotions. SZA also has her North Node in this very visible house. And North Node represents all of our life lessons for this life. And this indicates her life lessons are having to do with her identity. She may have a lot to learn about her self-identity, and therefore many challenges may come up revolving insecurity, and she must resolve that in her life. I mentioned she had an Aquarian ascendant. Her North Node is also in Aquarius. Aquarians are always one step ahead of everyone and have very innovative ideas. And having this Aquarian energy here could mean that SZA struggled with being indifferent. She perhaps was aware that she was not like other people, not like her counterparts, and she has a very unique vision and maybe felt ostracized about this for a long time. Therefore, she has an awkward feeling about the fact that she does indeed stand out.
One of my favorite days of all time. If I could give my younger self any advice, it would probably be to trust yourself or not try so hard to fit in because it made it so painful. I was so different that I think trying to fit in at all was so obviously painful for me and for like other people who call it secondhand embarrassment, like trying to like watch me assimilate, but like really just every part. I was definitely just designed to, I don't know, experience life the way I was supposed to experience it, and I think I fought that for a long time. I don't know, I just thought I could come up with something like more interesting and like better than Normal Girl, because it was just like, even though I feel like it was honest for me, like I feel out of place often, and I kind of wish I could just be a normal girl and like feel like I fit in somewhere. But I think all of us kind of feel like, even the girls that I consider normal feel like I wish I were normal, or like I would not even, or I wish I were different or something more. I don't know. So I wasn't sure if normal was right now in the world where being awkward or just being who you are is kind of embraced, like as long as you follow those steps. But I think, I don't know, I think the honesty thing just came from being exhausted with creating barriers and filters for myself and for my own emotions, or running from my feelings, or I'm just tired. So it's a lot easier to just be yourself and magnify that, and you have to accept just what it is. And you know, the things about me that bother me so much that I try to hide and change and move from everybody, it's just like, I can't. All you can do is magnify. So that's the goal.
So it's like a combination of this North Node in Aquarius and then also this first house and the ascendant being in Aquarius would make her someone who just can't wrap her mind around the fact that she's not like the people that she's around. And rather than accepting this, it might be some kind of insecurity about being different. Her life lesson revolves around triumphing over this feeling and allowing her light to shine so that she can help others and not just herself. Aquarians are also the humanitarians of the zodiac. They think big because their ideas are meant to benefit all of mankind. If your North Node is in Aquarius, that means your South Node is in Leo. South nodes represent our past lives, and North nodes are our present/future. So to have a Leo South Node, she may have been egocentric for its sake in the past life. And now with Aquarius and North Node, she must use that spotlight she always has on her and that confidence to make a change for others. SZA's music has arguably helped a lot of young people feel more validated and seen because she says the quiet part out loud in her music. She exposes the feelings she herself possesses of insecurity and lack of luck in love, and this helps other young people feel understood and perhaps helps them to make the necessary changes to not feel that way. Her second house is in the sign of Pisces. It doesn't contain any planets, but it is a very interesting sign to have your second house in because your second house represents your possessions and money as well as self-worth. The way we make money and how much money we make is often determined by how much love we have for ourselves. If you ever think about it, there may be jobs you don't go for because you don't feel you deserve them or that you're worthy of them. And so your self-worth absolutely does affect how much money you make. The sign Pisces is also a very creative sign, as we all know. So this is very accurate because SZA does make her money through creative means and also through themes of spirituality. So a lot of her songs have, spirituality and her faith kind of threaded in there. And obviously her self-worth can be seen as being tied to her spirituality as she does use it to boost her confidence, as she has discussed in interviews when she's feeling low, when she relies on certain healing modalities. SZA's sixth house, which represents the way we approach our goals and how we get through our day-to-day, essentially our foundational work, not so much our careers, but our daily jobs, is in the sign of Cancer. Now, having her sixth house in Cancer reinforces what I said earlier about her needing to really love what she does. Cancer is not a changeable sign. They are very much creatures of comfort. So in this area of her life, that is her work and her daily task, she is emotionally expressive, which is a Cancer's MO. Her work is obviously her artistry, so this makes sense. She acts as a Cancer on a regular basis and when she's in her hustle. She also has the planet Jupiter here as well as Chiron. Jupiter is the most benevolent planet. Whatever life area, aka house, it sits in, is where you might experience the most ease or luck in your life. So Jupiter being in her sixth house indicates that when she's working on her creative projects or things that mean something to her that touch her heart, things just flow. Ideas may just come to her. Inspiration may come in abundance, and her results are often fruitful. Chiron is also in this house, which indicates any feelings of insecurity or pain she endures is transmuted in her work. Also, in her daily task, she may have an interest in certain healing modalities that she utilizes to get through her daily tasks. This interest is likely represented in her work as well. The only con to either of these planets being here is perhaps an excessive energy being used on work, because sixth house also rules our work. Because sixth house is also a work house, but the sixth house is also a daily routines, and what we do on a daily affects our health. So having these energies here could also indicate some health issues if overworking becomes a problem. But if she puts those healing practices to the test on a regular basis, she could have found the necessary balance. Her eighth house, which represents how we handle change and transformation in our lives, has no planets, but it is in the sign of Virgo. I wanted to highlight this because it just reinforces that she has a need to help herself as well as other people with healing. Virgo is the healer, and often Virgo placements are in healing professions like therapy and medicine, and she has Virgo in a very transformative house. And this just means that she loves to deep dive and research different healing techniques and utilize those things to help her with change in her life. And this in turn helps us others.
Often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But her presence reminding me like, oh, I should probably go like do some ohms like in the back real quick, and like, or I should really take more magnesium because my magnesium is hella depleted and like I need it to regulate my emotions and I'm not doing it. Or I should like take a fucking nap. Okay. Yeah. And it's small things that you don't, or talk to, I have 3 different kinds of therapists. Like I have a hypnotherapist, I have a talk therapist. And then, they try to give me a psychiatrist, but I'm not taking any of those drugs. But he's like an emergency, like if I feel like at any point I'm about to really lose it, which I felt like I have a prescription.
He's Dr. Nick.
How has your mental health been overall during the pandemic? And other than going outside, what are some of the things that you do to keep yourself positive?
Really like moving around is probably, I'm just a very physical person. And I'm even to learn things, I have to do them. So me just like being super active, I swear, like in different ways, trying like different types of yoga that I found on YouTube, and just like Qigong. I love all those movements, like the 8-section brigade, like just learning all that, just really just trying things, connecting with different aspects of like my body out of desperation kind of thing. And like breathing exercises, I didn't realize how much I wasn't breathing. I probably like have breathed 4 times during this entire interview, but breathing is super important.
Her 9th house is even more interesting because of this. The 9th house is a life area that reflects our philosophy and religion and where we travel in our minds and physically to explore that area of our lives. So it's like the internal philosophical journeys we go on. It's that area of our life. Now, this is her most packed house as it's in the sign of Libra and contains Sun, Mercury, Mars, and Pluto. Wow. So that's a gorgeous part of her chart for sure. For starters, being in the sign of Libra means she likely loves to learn about the spirituality and religions of different cultures, and she likely integrates what speaks to her from each one. She does have some tattoos that reflect this love of exploring other faiths from around the world, and she has also expressed wanting to study with Sadhguru, so this makes perfect sense.
In like a week.
You are?
I am at an ashram.
You are?
I'm going to an ashram with my mom's also going.
Going to do a silent retreat.
You to do a vow of silence with Sadhguru. It's called Samyama, and I've been like training for it for a year, and like I'm unprepared, and I love that I'm unprepared, and I love that I'm thrusting myself into something that's gonna like force me to trust and pursue, because that's the theme of this year, and I feel like yoga changed my life, and I'm just down to see whatever life has.
Someone with Libra in the 9th house may also want to grow spiritually with people. So in Sis's case, growing with her fan base or joining spiritual communities, for instance. This also means she likes to travel to grow spiritually and find something meaningful to her faith everywhere she goes. So there is a connection to nature as well.
I'm super active, so I spend a lot of time outside. Color theory in the mind, just seeing more green and like being around more oxygen. I'll drive anywhere to get near like a lot of trees. So like I was in Hawaii before the pandemic like got super crazy, and for like a month and a half, and then like I went right before it kicked up again, and then in California, I just drive literally anywhere, like into Apple Valley. I'll find a trail near my house in Malibu. Like, I'll hike anywhere. I don't care if it's Griffith Park. Like, just straight up air and trees does it for me. And the beach, too. I don't care what beach it is. I don't care if it's all the way down to Long Beach and Hawthorne or Zua Beach. Like, I just love being outside. It's, like, the only thing that makes me feel better. Sense, but, like, I literally chase... I'm so enthralled just like with gorgeous energy.
Yeah.
Like I just love it. I love being lost in the scene. I gotta get in it, touch it, feel it, have to. And that addiction to beauty makes me chase it everywhere I go, but it has to be in a real way. So like animals, children, nature.
This interest is integrated into her consciousness in a way that promotes the common thread of all the different philosophies that she explores, as Libra is all about balance and harmony.
Capricorn energy that I'm reading right now.
When did you start getting to astrology and like spirituality? Because I see a lot on your Instagram.
Literally, okay, so like dead ass, this is the same thing that like led me into like caring about nature and like sustainability and all that stuff, because when you find out magic and like all that spiritual stuff is connected to the elements. And it's like
The sun is also in this house in her natal chart, and the sun always represents who we are and basically the highest ideal of who we can be. It's our ego. SZA having her sun in the house of philosophy and spirituality means that she feels like she's her best self when she's engaging in the spiritual learning journey. So she probably feels her best traveling and taking spiritual journeys to learn and then teach about different ways of living.
Learning so much as I can, trying as much as I can, and like, yeah, hopefully I can travel, and like that would really expand my spiritual horizon.
Yes.
She forms her ego best and grows better as a person when she lives this way. Mercury and Mars is also here, meaning that she loves to learn and then talk about what she learns in this area, as indicated by Mercury. And Mars indicates that she puts a lot of her energy towards this area of her life. She feels most invigorated and full of passion when she is researching and teaching spiritual and faith-based ideologies.
Capricorn energy that I'm reading right now.
When did you start getting to astrology and like spirituality? Because I see a lot on your Instagram.
Literally, okay, so like dead ass, this is the same thing that like led me into like caring about nature and like sustainability and all that stuff, because when you find out magic and like all that spiritual stuff is connected to the elements, and it's like really all present in nature first and foremost. So like the connection that you have with the earth, and like
her Pluto is also here, which is the planet that represents transformation. So she obviously grows a lot as a person when she engages life in this way, and she possesses an inner strength due to her beliefs, and this strength would be felt and seen by others. SZA's 11th house is in the sign of Sagittarius, and it contains Venus and Uranus. The 11th house is the life area that represents our friendships and acquaintances, so essentially our peers and communities, and who we are to them and what they are to us. So being in the sign of Sagittarius means SZA is likely very open-minded and non-judgmental about people. I always see her under Instagram posts sharing positivity, and that might really be who she is with this 11th house placement, as Sag energy is very optimistic and cheery, and there's a curiosity about other people that is rarely judgy. Sages love to teach as well because they are very wise from being very curious travelers, whether in the mind or physically. So she likely loves to share her spiritual beliefs with her community.
Not real, so it's like you have to really grind yourself and rehumanize yourself constantly to recognize that the human experience you're constantly being exposed to and witnessing all the time doesn't have to become your reality. You don't have to like ingest it and let it be your existence and your experience. So I'm just trying to
receive that.
bounce on that.
She's a very loving and friendly person to even strangers because she's just curious enough about people that she isn't judgmental. Containing Venus here also makes her very charming with how she engages with people, and being a performer would make this very helpful. She knows how to pull people in, has a way of showing the beauty of the world to a person, which makes her very enticing and enchanting to be around, very feminine energy. Uranus here means she likely has a very unique set of friendships. We've already established she's an open person who loves to travel, so this is very highly likely to develop a very interesting concoction of friendships from people with people from all walks of life. Her friendships may encompass very creative people, very artsy people, people with big ideas, or people she finds to be innovative.
What's crazy is I loved Ben Stiller before I knew he had like this dark genius mind in Severance. And I was like, now I love him even more because he's like a total freak, and I'm just like, yes, like it's just
so yourself. You were quirky. Your smile wasn't perfect. I have like a slight speech impediment, and people laugh all the time. And you're like, what is SZA saying? And it's like a running joke, but it's like I love the way you talk and like just all the you-ness of you. Your laugh, even in the movies and in real life. It's very much. It just reminds me of all the things about myself that make me nervous, but on you it shines so brightly. You gave me permission.
Last but not least, I wanted to look at her 12th house. Our 12th house is often a very mysterious house, but to me, it represents our subconscious. Whatever planet or sign it's in is something that's usually the kind of energy that's very personal to us. So it's how we are when we're home alone, who we aren't comfortable sharing with the world. But technically, if we do share that part of us with the world, we would actually reach a new pinnacle of blessing, because it's what we're secretly mastering, what we're secretly good at. So SZA has this house in the sign of Capricorn, and it contains planets Saturn and Neptune. That Capricorn and Saturn energy is interesting because SZA has so many water placements. Remember, I said she's a true Scorpio woman. So she lives her life in a creative flow. Therefore, people don't see the structure and the planning that she does have to do. Saturn is the disciplinarian, and it's all about the end goal, no matter how long it takes. And Saturn is the dominant planet of Capricorn. So those energies make sense here in her chart, because we only see SZA's creativity and watery essence. We don't see all that goes into her success. She keeps that part of her life hidden. She may rarely share the behind the scenes of her work, rather keeping the element of surprise in true Scorpionic fashion. This could also mean that SZA does not view herself necessarily as a disciplinarian or as a disciplined person. She probably doesn't really connect that much to being disciplined or having a lot of structure.
Gratitude and like controlling your energy, like controlling where you place it, because there's so much going on now, and I'm not a disciplined person. Like, I'm naturally all over the place. It's very easy to like start a landslide in the wrong direction, or start like a really awesome like snowball in the right direction. Everything requires more intention, but I like paying attention to my intentions now. So yeah.
However, she may have a certain way of how she approaches her creativity and how she handles her day-to-day responsibilities as a creative person or as an artist that has a certain structure to it that she probably does not see. So it's like a very hidden thing. Sometimes it's hidden to ourselves because it's a very natural energy, that 12th house energy, but it is something that is undercover because it is in our subconscious. Neptune is also in this house, which is really interesting because Neptune is the planet representing spirituality and creativity. And I feel SZA shares this part of herself pretty freely, but perhaps that is only the surface level of that part of her life that she actually shares. Perhaps in true Scorpio fashion, she doesn't really share that much at all. we just think we know her. So, you know, she may post pictures of herself in nature and her tattoos and release a song like Good Days, but that doesn't mean we actually know the true depth of her faith and her spirituality. Even if she does, you know, share her beliefs and creativity with the world, Neptune here could just indicate that she holds it very, very, very dear to her spirit. So her faith is a very personal thing to her, and she doesn't like to share all of her real, true, deep feelings and connections about it. Aspects in our birth chart are the way our planet placements that reflect our personality interact with our world, our houses. So aspects are just the nuances of our personality. They will describe how different planets and objects interact in our personality. SZA's strongest aspect is Venus sextile Mars. Venus sextile Mars is a harmonious aspect in her personality, making her very warm and engaging as a person. Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and charm, and Mars is the planet of passion and masculinity. This perfect blend in her personality means she can generally get along well with anyone and has a good balance of strength and grace in her nature. It would make her affectionate and sociable, and it will also make her a romantic. Mars square ascendant is an interesting aspect as well, as people with Mars square ascendant have a tendency to put on a very tough exterior, and it can often come across as rudeness because they easily get offended and react impulsively. It's basically the Mars passionate energy being used in a negative way, as indicated by that square, until, of course, age and wisdom start to transmute that. For reference, Cristiano Ronaldo has this aspect in his birth chart as well, and in his younger years of playing in the league, he was often accused of being arrogant and selfish on the field. However, being hot-tempered can also be seen as passionate, and passion can always be transmuted through creative expression, which SZA clearly makes use of.
Trolling us.
Oh my God, no, I'm not a troll. I am very dramatic, and I'm like easily angered, and I was having just an exorbitantly bad day.
Yeah.
And
It's so high. My biggest priority now is being like an emotionally regulated person with healthy relationships. And like, I want to, like, I pray to be slower to anger. Like, I literally pray and be like, oh, you know, I might be slower to anger, I might be calm, like, filled with loving kindness. Like, I want to be a good person so badly, and not in like the idea of what a good person is. I want to be honest enough to create boundaries, healthy boundaries, and be like, I want to be honest enough to say no. That's good person shit.
Mercury conjunct Pluto is another aspect she has, and it means she's a very intense speaker. Someone who can easily influence others because she is passionate when she speaks and has the ability to perfectly express all of her wisdom and thoughts. There is an interest in esoterics, like we talked about before with this aspect, and a need to express one's deep thoughts. This power of communication can also be used for negative, and it could influence people who possess it to manipulate others with lies, simply because they know they could convince people of anything, and people take them very, very seriously. As I said before, SZA is known for changing her story interview to interview, and it's probably genuinely fun for her because she knows people will always take her word as bond. But she also uses this power positively through her creative expression. So obviously she amasses a lot of support because her mind and art are respected. She also has Sun trine Chiron in her chart. This aspect harmoniously blends her ego, Sun, with her healing point, her Chiron, meaning she is someone who understands her own ego and how to utilize it to heal herself.
I don't know. You can colorfully depict pain in a way that isn't so grotesque, but I used to love like super grotesque writing.
As well as how to help others do the same. This would make SZA a very compassionate person who likely has a very deep understanding of ego and why people do what they do, which makes her very understanding and supportive. She is likely also very forgiving of herself because she recognizes the ego in herself, which would certainly help her career in music because music is such a powerful and effective medium. And if you have a compassionate nature such as this, it would inspire you to use your heart to heal the masses.
of like making something that you care about, that you want to connect to other people about, making something with integrity or trying to make something with integrity, like in terms of like being honest even when it embarrasses you or like triggers you in a weird way.
Like, that makes sense to me. That's what makes me want to, like, when I'm thinking, I'm like, damn, how can I shoot my love to the back of this arena real quick? Because there's people back there that I can't see, but I got to get the love to them because they're giving the love to me. Yeah. So then, like, I look to the back and I'd be like, I don't know. I imagine my energy shooting to the back of whatever the space is. But I really, I don't know. What happened? Love it. I'm just thankful, honestly, that, like, God made my words good enough to, like, reach other people and connect and, like, grow on their own.
Mars sextile Uranus makes SZA a very eccentric person that lights up the room. This is a life of the party energy. As Mars is such a lively planet and Uranus is all about being different, this combo makes someone very energetic and upbeat. They just trust so strongly in their ability to make shit happen. It also makes someone love debates and pushing the envelope in conversation. So someone who stirs the pot and likes to touch the edge of a conversation at all times. This is excellent for artists, as there is a changeability and comfort in that change that will blend beautifully with that Martian drive to make really amazing creative projects that are always unique, never reflect anything of the past, but reflect where the industry is going. She also has Saturn conjunct Neptune, which makes her personality possess a duality where she is grounded, yet has a spiritual and creative visionary approach. Because it's a conjunction and not a trine, which would make it harmonious, it means that she doesn't always get the balance right. It is something that she works on, remaining discerning, even while she has a strong spiritual connection to the ethereal world. Venus conjunct Uranus makes SZA someone who often experiences changeability and impulsivity in dating and her creative outlets. This aspect is probably best reflected in her artistry. She likes to be different in her work, and when she is dating, she likely falls in love really fast. As she's a very passionate person with this aspect, but with Uranus here, she greatly appreciates her freedom. Again, she's a Scorpio dominant woman, and this water sign is all about going with the flow and letting emotions take you from one place or person to the next, not exactly being super attached all the time, but just allowing that energy to flow freely. Sun conjunction Pluto makes her again very intense. Her passionate probing into deep and dark matters makes her very intriguing, and this power over people can be received as something to fear or embrace. The ego, as reflected by the sun, is transformed regularly and fearlessly through deep self-awareness. Sun conjunct Mercury makes amazing communicators. SZA likely gets fired up from just talking and engaging with people, spreading ideas. This would definitely make her a yapper, which you can clearly see in videos, but it's so engaging to hear her talk because she talks with a watery essence with that Scorpio sun. Lots of run-on sentences, not often thinking before speaking, just figuring out what you actually want to say in the moment. So it's like a flow to how one speaks. It's like water. And Sun is the ego and the self-expression. So to have that in a powerful conjunction combo with Mercury makes someone a very dramatic speaker. So this is excellent for her career as she performs. So she is great at conveying her emotions through verbal communication. Now, her other strong aspects all have a theme to me. So I lumped them all together because they all reflect a general theme. And these aspects are Pluto trine Chiron, Mercury trine Chiron, Moon trine Pluto, Moon trine Mercury, Moon sextile Neptune, Moon trine Chiron, and Moon trine Jupiter. I chose to lump these together because they all just reflect the fact that SZA is so attuned to her emotional nature, knows herself so well, trusts herself so much that she has a lack of conflict within herself. She even has Sun trine Moon in her chart as well, which really indicates an inner sense of harmony and balance between her emotions and her expression. Even if there are contradictions, as there tends to be when dealing with emotions, there is a compassion towards self in this placement, therefore a peace about these contradictions. These aspects obviously all indicate an ability to express emotions very, very well. If every birth chart has a theme, SZA definitely manifests as a woman with a beautiful gift of emotional expression and passion, who is not afraid to live with her heart wide open, so that she can be a light for others to do the same. She is a very feminine woman, a woman very attuned to her emotions, who finds strength and power in them, and that is why she is so beloved and so successful. Other women just love to see this, love to see someone who is not just a victim from loving without inhibitions, as all women naturally desire to, but someone who thrives even if she does get hurt from loving and living this way. And this is the true feminine essence according to SZA's astrological birth chart. I hope you all enjoyed this. If so, like this video and share and comment your favorite parts. I post videos every Monday, and I'm also a spiritual astrologer. So if you're interested in having your chart read to you by me in very deep analysis, you can book below and also purchase some cool shirts that reflect your shared interest in astrology and spirituality. Thanks again, and see you next week.